Listen to me carefully because this message is for the person who has been fighting battles nobody else could see. You smiled in front of people while carrying pressure in your heart. You kept moving when you were exhausted. You prayed when you had no words left. You wondered how long you would have to endure, how long the opposition would continue, and whether the situation would ever change. But I came to tell you something today. The battle is shifting. What looked like an endless war is beginning to turn in your favor. The people who thought they could intimidate you are losing their confidence. The ones who believed you would break are beginning to realize that you are still standing. The enemies who came against your peace, your purpose, your future, and your calling are discovering that they cannot stop what God has already ordained. And I need you to hear this clearly. Do not mistake the silence around you for defeat. Sometimes God becomes quiet because He is working behind the scenes. Sometimes the greatest victory begins before you can see a single change with your physical eyes. You may still see the same circumstances, but something has already shifted in the spiritual battle. Doors that were blocked are beginning to move. Plans designed against you are beginning to collapse under their own weight. Conversations that were meant to destroy your reputation are exposing the people who started them. Those who tried to manipulate you are realizing they can no longer control you. And the reason they are retreating is not because you became stronger through revenge, but because God strengthened you through endurance. You survived the season that was supposed to destroy your confidence. You walked through rejection without losing your identity. You experienced betrayal without becoming bitter. You were misunderstood without abandoning your purpose. And every time life gave you a reason to quit, you found another reason to keep believing. Look at yourself now. You are not the same person who entered that battle. You have learned discernment. You have learned patience. You have learned when to speak and when to remain silent. You have learned that not every accusation deserves a response, and not every enemy deserves your attention. That is why you should not chase people who are walking away from you. Let them go. Let the door close. Let the chapter end. Let God handle what you cannot handle. Your responsibility is not to defeat every person who opposes you. Your responsibility is to remain faithful to the assignment God placed inside you. There are battles you will never win by arguing, explaining, proving, or defending yourself. Some battles are won when you simply keep moving forward while God deals with what is behind you. Somebody listening to me right now has been waiting for justice. You have been asking, God, when will you finally turn this around? And perhaps you have been tempted to believe that because you have not seen immediate results, nothing is happening. But remember this, delay is not denial, and silence is not abandonment. God can be working in places you cannot access, changing hearts you cannot reach, exposing information you could never discover, and arranging circumstances you could never manipulate. Your job is to trust the process. Your enemies may have had access to your past, but they do not have authority over your future. They may know where you have been, but they do not know where God is taking you. They may remember your mistakes, but God sees your transformation. They may have judged you according to one chapter, but God is writing an entire story. So, stop allowing temporary opposition to make you question permanent purpose. The enemy wants you distracted because distraction makes you forget direction. He wants you emotionally exhausted because exhaustion makes small problems look like impossible mountains. He wants you constantly checking who is talking about you, who is against you, who left you, who betrayed you, and who is secretly hoping you fail. But hear me, you do not have time to monitor every enemy when God has given you a future to build. Lift your eyes higher. Your season is changing. Your focus must change with it. There is a difference between being surrounded by opposition and being defeated by opposition. You can be surrounded and still be protected. You can be attacked and still be advancing. You can be misunderstood and still be chosen. You can lose people and still gain purpose. You can walk through a storm and still arrive at your promised destination. And maybe the retreat you are witnessing is not just your enemies leaving. Maybe it is God removing everything that could not accompany you into your next season. Some relationships must end because they were connected to an old version of you. Some opportunities must disappear because they were too small for what God is preparing. Some people will distance themselves because they cannot recognize the person you are becoming. Do not beg them to stay. Do not chase them. Do not shrink yourself to make them comfortable. If God is separating you from something, trust Him enough to release it. Because sometimes protection looks like rejection. Sometimes promotion looks like isolation. Sometimes preparation looks like loneliness. And sometimes victory begins with God removing the wrong people from your battlefield. Now I want you to understand something important. When your enemies retreat, do not become arrogant. Do not become obsessed with watching them fall. Do not spend your energy celebrating their losses. Your victory is not their destruction. Your victory is your freedom. Your victory is waking up without fear. Your victory is sleeping peacefully because you know God is in control. Your victory is becoming so focused on your purpose that yesterday's enemies no longer occupy today's thoughts. Let God handle the consequences. Let God reveal the truth. Let God defend your name. Let God fight the battles you were never equipped to fight. You keep your heart clean. You keep your faith strong. You keep your hands busy, building the life you were called to live. And if you are standing in front of a battle right now, I want you to remember that you have survived every difficult day that came before this one. Every storm that tried to drown you became evidence that you can survive storms. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every closed door taught you patience. Every disappointment taught you resilience. Every lonely night taught you how to hear your own faith when nobody else was speaking. You are not walking into this next season empty-handed. You are carrying wisdom, experience, strength, faith, and a testimony. So when you see people retreating, do not panic. When doors begin closing behind you, do not turn around. When people stop inviting you into places where you were never meant to remain, do not beg for entry. Keep walking, keep praying, keep believing, keep becoming. Because the same God who sustained you in the battle can sustain you in the victory. And I believe there is a moment coming when you will look back at this season and finally understand why God allowed you to go through it. You will realize that the battle did not break you, it built you. The rejection did not destroy you, it redirected you. The betrayal did not end you, it revealed what needed to be removed. The opposition did not cancel your purpose, it pushed you closer to it. So breathe, calm your heart, release the need to control everything. You do not have to know every detail of tomorrow to trust the one who already knows tomorrow. Your enemies may retreat because they realize they cannot defeat what God is protecting. Your opposition may become confused because the strategy they used against the old you no longer works against the person you have become. And your next chapter may be closer than you think. So, stand tall, keep your faith, guard your peace. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Stop chasing people committed to leaving. Stop fighting battles God never asked you to fight. Your assignment is ahead, not behind. Your blessing is ahead, not behind. Your purpose is ahead, not behind. Let the enemies retreat. Let the false accusations disappear. Let the old chapter close. Let God turn the battle in your favor. And when the victory finally becomes visible, remember the days when you thought you would never make it. Remember the nights when you cried and still prayed. Remember the moments when you had every reason to quit, but chose to keep going. That is your testimony. You were not abandoned. You were being prepared. You were not forgotten. You were being strengthened. You were not defeated. You were being positioned. So, walk forward with courage, because what is coming does not require the frightened version of you. It requires the healed, focused, disciplined, faithful version of you. The battle is shifting, the pressure is breaking, The opposition is losing ground, and you are still standing. Keep going, because God is not finished with your story yet. Listen to me, because this is where you need to pay attention. God is making your enemies lose their power over you. And maybe you have not noticed it yet, but the things that once had the ability to shake your peace are beginning to lose their grip. There was a time when one person's opinion could ruin your entire day, when someone's rejection could make you question your worth, when someone's betrayal could keep you awake at night, replaying every conversation and wondering what you did wrong. But look at you now. You are learning to stop giving people the authority to define you. You are learning that not everyone who walks away is a loss, not every closed door is punishment, and not every person who opposes you has the power to stop your destiny. God has been strengthening you quietly, teaching you how to stand without applause, how to move without everyone's approval, and how to keep your peace when people are trying to provoke you. That is why some of your enemies are retreating. They are realizing that the version of you they could manipulate no longer exists. The version of you who constantly explained yourself is becoming silent. The version of you who chased people for acceptance is learning to walk away. The version of you who was afraid of being misunderstood is discovering that God's approval is greater than human approval. And when you stop reacting to every attack, people lose the control they once had over your emotions. Hear me clearly. Your greatest victory may not be watching your enemies fall. It may be reaching the point where you no longer care whether they fall or rise. You simply keep moving forward because your eyes are fixed on what God has called you to become. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand you. Let them create stories about you. Let them assume you are finished. You do not have to interrupt their assumptions. God knows the truth, and eventually truth has a way of standing on its own. The same people who underestimated you may eventually watch you walk into opportunities they never imagined for you. The same people who thought your silence meant weakness may discover that your silence was preparation. The same people who tried to make you feel small may realize that you were never small. You were simply standing in a season where your greatness had not yet been revealed. So do not turn around now. Do not return to old arguments. Do not waste your energy proving yourself to people who have already decided what they want to believe. Keep your heart clean, keep your mind focused, and keep your faith alive. God is not asking you to defeat everyone who comes against you. He is asking you to trust Him while He removes their influence from your life. And when that influence is gone, you will finally understand that they were never as powerful as you thought. You were simply giving them power they never possessed. Now God is taking that power back, restoring your confidence, protecting your peace, and moving you toward a future where the people who once distracted you no longer determine your direction. Your enemies may still make noise, but noise is not authority. They may still watch, talk, criticize, or doubt, but none of that can cancel what God has placed over your life. Stand firm. Keep walking. The battle is changing, and you are becoming impossible to control. Listen closely, because what you are facing right now is not the end of your story. It is becoming the evidence of what God can do through a person who refuses to give up. Every battle you survived is carrying a lesson, and every painful chapter is preparing you to speak with authority about the victory that is coming. You may look at your circumstances and wonder why you had to experience betrayal, rejection, disappointment, delays, and opposition. But one day you will look back and realize that those moments were not wasted. God was building something inside you that comfort never could. Your enemies may have thought their actions would destroy you, but God can take the very thing meant to break you and use it to strengthen your foundation. They may have expected you to lose your confidence, but you are discovering courage. They may have expected you to become bitter, but you are learning forgiveness. They may have expected you to quit, but you are developing endurance. That is why you must not judge your story by what is happening in the middle. A battle can look ugly before the victory becomes visible. A seed can look buried before it becomes a tree. A door can look closed before God opens another one that is greater. So do not allow today's struggle to convince you that tomorrow has been cancelled. God is still writing. And sometimes the greatest testimony begins with the sentence, "I thought it was over." You thought that relationship ending meant your life was falling apart, but perhaps God was removing what could not accompany you into your next season. You thought the rejection meant you were not good enough, but perhaps God was redirecting you toward a place where your gifts would be valued. You thought the delay meant God had forgotten you, but perhaps He was preparing circumstances you could not yet see. This is why you cannot let temporary pain create permanent doubt. Your enemies may have played a role in the battle, but they do not get to write the ending. They can criticize your past, but they cannot control your future. They can close a door, but they cannot close every door. They can spread rumors, but they cannot erase your character. They can walk away, but they cannot walk away with the purpose God placed inside you. So keep going, keep building, keep praying, keep becoming. There will come a moment when the very thing you cried about becomes part of the testimony you share with someone else who is struggling. Your pain will become wisdom. Your tears will become strength. Your survival will become encouragement. And the story you once wanted to hide may become the story that gives another person hope. So stop asking only, "Why did this happen to me?" and begin asking, "What is this season teaching me?" Because there is something being developed in you that cannot be purchased, faked, or borrowed. You are becoming stronger, wiser, more discerning, and more grounded. Your battle is turning into your testimony because you are refusing to let adversity have the final word. The people who wanted to see you defeated may eventually have to watch you rise. The situation that made you question everything may become the very chapter that proves how far you have come. So lift your head. Your story is not ending in defeat. You are still here, still growing, still believing, and still moving forward. Let God transform the battlefield into a testimony, because what tried to destroy you can become the evidence that you were stronger than the storm, and that your purpose was always bigger than the opposition.